Hey guys, it's me Suryo, and today I'm going to be doing a standard ezel deck profile. Tomorrow, at this current time, Premium Collection drops tomorrow, which is why I'm not doing my Premium deck profile. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you guys are excited, especially since I'm finally in summer break. And to celebrate, we will start getting into the deck profile right now. So, starting Vanguard is Kirf. The reason it's Kirf is because he's the only starter in Gold Paladin, and even if there was another one, for example, like Rising Lionette, if it ever comes back, please Bushy Road. Please bring back Gurgwit. Anyways, you would still play this because this is the Ezel deck and you need the superior ride. So yeah, Kirf is the starter. We're going to start off with triggers this time. I'm going to try something new with how I do my deck profiles. So for triggers, I play 8 crit. And so the reason why you want to play 8 crit, in my opinion, with my experience with the clan as well in the deck, is simply because the deck is designed to close out games fast. If you think about it, Gold Paladin is the fastest clan in the game because it can accelerate from grade 2 to grade 3 in one turn, which is really huge, especially in both formats. Because in Premium, it can allow you to stride first, and in Standard, it allows you to get the first marker, and you can immediately start doing things that you could do at a grade 3 that other clans could do. For example, like if you're Royal Paladin, if you had the ability to accelerate into grade 3 immediately, you would be able to get your force markers and start calling out your Blaster Blades and pushing for high damage. Well, in Gold Paladin, you do that, but with an Excel marker. And because this is an Excel clan that can generate board quite freely, the aggressive plays is a lot more dangerous, in my opinion, than most clans that would if they had this speed. And because of that, you want to play the 8 crit because it can allow you to close the game out a lot faster. Sure, front triggers are nice. They really are. But having the crits enable the game to close out a lot faster is what makes it so important. Because, especially with your Raven-haired Ezel, you are able to push for high damage. You can push your opponent from 1 to 5 if you double crit with a Raven-haired Ezel. I've done that before, and then the next turn I'd win because they were like, yo, like, I can't do anything. I'm on grade 2. I didn't heal. I barely have enough shield to guard against all of your attacks. You have 2 Excel circles. Like, I can't do anything. That's what the crits enable, which is really important. So then I play 4 draws. The reason I play draws at 4 is because, like, they're draw PGs. You kind of want the defense. It's a force meta. Like, you kind of want them. And then, for heal, healing's important, still is. I know Vanguard Insider likes fronts, and he didn't play heals, but, like, I like heals. I like to heal. I like to 6 damage heal, or counter charge, and survive, Bermuda Triangle. That's really nice, So, having the heals is really nice. I just think that it's better. Like, you could play all-out aggression, but, like, I don't know. Like, I might try that later. Who knows? Maybe Vanguard Insider will inspire a new profile. Anyways, moving on. So grade 1s, I play Fordin Drain. The reason why I play Fordin Drain is you want to see her. She allows you to get resources back, either in hand or via damage, which is very important. Luckily, out of the 3 Paladin clans, Gold Paladin was one of the 3 Paladin clans that got a countercharge engine, alongside Shadow Paladin. Royal Paladin will be getting one soon, because it's finally been confirmed. Anyways. And this is at the time I'm recording this. Anyways, moving on. Din Drain allows you to countercharge or draw. And either being able to draw cards from building board is really good, because that way you still have some sort of hand to maintain. Or using her to gain resources back in the damage can also make it very big, because of Raven-haired Ezel. Raven-haired Ezel is your best Vanguard, hands down. In this deck, Raven-haired Ezel is by far the best Vanguard in this deck because it is a reusable waterfall, and it provides so much pressure to your opponent. It doesn't matter which clan they play. Like, even in the mirror match, like, having Raven in the mirror match is so huge because it's a big Vanguard with guard restrict, and you're playing against the same deck, which has low hand. It's really annoying, and it's really huge, which is also why I play 8 crit, because, fun fact, in one of my mirror matches in the Shop Challenge Finals, I won with this deck. I bricked the guy, got the Raven-haired Superior right off. I didn't give him any damage. He was at 1 with 1 face down, which was really nice. But, he was, like, gonna survive. I was like, okay. I got my Blonde Ezel finally. Then I double Superior ride it pretty much, because, like, I rode and then I Superior rode. Yeah. And then I turn Raven-haired sideways. He says no guard. I double crit him. He gets no defensive triggers. Then he loses, because he doesn't have enough cards in his hand to deal with all my other attacks. this will enable you to turn 1 Raven and do that, because if you're damage locked, well, look at that. I'll get resources back. And that actually, during that match, that is what happened, because he was able to get resources back to keep pushing me to high damage, because he kept getting Din Drains and a Sagamore or a Wonder Ezel, and he kept using his soul that he had, other than the Blonde Ezel and soul, to get resources back to keep pressuring me, because I bricked and he took full advantage of that. That's what makes this card so important. Also, the turn 1 Ravenhaired Ezel play with her is actually really good, because then that's how you can like kill your opponent really fast. Anyways, I play then 4 Howl because of the Superior Ride. That's literally it. It's just because of the Superior Ride. He's also good because he generates soul and he generates multi-attacks, because he is a grade 1 version of Max Slash that draw cards. So hand filtering is quite good. But the Superior Ride is more important, and you need to sack him. And playing him at less than 4 makes the Superior Ride less consistent, which is really important, because the deck's mechanic is Superior Ride and go in. That's what Ezel is. Speaking of Superior Ride, I played 2 Gareth, literally just for the Superior Ride. Sure, his power skill is nice, and being able to call multiple Gareths every turn with Bowman's is cool, but like, I found that I needed the grade 1 room just for another tech card, and having Gareth immediately out either as a attacker, because if your opponent's on a AK body on grade 1 or a lower body and you get the Superior Ride off, you immediately have Gareth as a attacker, which is really good, because he can just poke for 8 and bait out defensive triggers, which is quite nice. Or he becomes a booster for your Vanguard permanently, which is also quite nice. And sure, being able to call out a Gareth from Bowman's effect on your kill turn to counter +1 to give him 10k, so your Ravenhaired Ezel, instead of it being 35, it becomes 45 to create no Sentinels, is nice. But you need the room for Mr. Brenius, which is what I play 2 of. Brenius is actually a really good card, and I'll get him Tim right after him. Gareth also doesn't leave the board, which is why he can be used as a 2 of, and if you have to ride him, oh my god, that's like the worst thing in the world. If you damage strike 1 and you road 1, that's fine, because you have access to Wonder Ezel Superior Ride. So there's like not too big of an issue. Like sure, it can be peeving sometimes, and yeah, it's at a low number where it can be risky, but having the option of Brenius, I believe, is just far more important. Speaking of, Brenius allows you to turn 1 Raven, like with the crit. You want to know how? Here's how. So after you go first, right? Or even if you go second, you use the Superior Ride, right? You only got 1 damage. You call Brenius after you Superior Ride into Blonde. Use Raven skill from hand Superior Ride to get another Excel circle. You activate Brenius to go to soul, draw 1, call a Din Drain. Then you use Din Drain skill to countercharge 1. And look at that. Now your Ravenhaired's online. Now you can start really pushing your opponent for high damage. Isn't that helpful and useful? Oh, why yes it is. Because if your opponent's on grade 1 when that happens... What's that? Looks like they lose? Why, 100%, because you're also playing a crit in this build. And if you double crit them, looks like they're gonna lose. Unless, they heal the crap out of you. Then you're like, at least all of them are gone. Yeah, that's what he enables. He also gives you more resources to work with Soul, which is also really nice. And just having that option is, I believe, is really good, especially in a meta with Kagero. And a meta where you need to be able to kill the top decks that are Force clans, and you're an XL clan, and killing Burrito as fast as possible is really important. So that's what this lets you do. Grade 2s, I play 4 Wonder Ezel, because Superior Ride consistency is more important than a thing called, I don't know, what was it called again? Oh yeah, it was called Lop-Ear Shooter. So I used to play 3 Wonder Ezels and 1 Lop-Ear Shooter, but I cut the Lop-Ear for the 4th Wonder Ezel because it is really just too valuable. It's too important because you need the Superior Ride, especially in a Force Clan meta. Just optimizing your Superior Ride options is super nice. And his on-play skill is also very important because it allows you to trigger whatever you need from your hand out immediately. Things like Din Drain, or Gareth, or Bowman's, even Vivian to spam board is really good. On top of that, he allows you to freely chain attack with Howl. Why wouldn't you want to do that? When you're a deck that has access to multi-attacks, with the aggro and speed that this deck has, do you want to take full advantage of it? So having him at 4 lets you do that. Then I play 4 Bowman's. Bowman's is really self-explanatory. You need him for the Superior Ride. That's really about it. Other than that, he does get 3k when he's placed by a card's effect, which is super nice. And the ability for him to get out Gareth again for the Superior Ride is really nice, but also because of the fact that it's a card on the board. You get to deck then by 1, which is pretty important, and later in the game, if you still have another Gareth in the deck, which can happen, you can call out a Gareth behind the Ravenhair Ezel and give it 10k. And then that means you can kill your opponent, or just make them commit more to guarding your Ravenhair Ezel. Which is really good. Like, it's really good. Really good. So yeah, there's that. On top of that, though, also, if you still have Garrus in the deck, you can still chain attack with him, which is really nice as well. So just having him there is really nice. Then you got the Vivians. I want to change this to Athelis. I'm not sure if I will, though, because Athelis is a discard cost Vivian, and you can only call it grade equal to or less than your Vanguard with Athelis, but in exchange, you don't use resources like Vivian does. Although Vivian has been proven to be very useful, because especially in this meta with Force Clans, being able to make Force Clan numbers early game by turn 1 or turn 2, either they're on a 8k body or a 10k body, is actually really important, because you're able to aggro them super hard, so that even if once they ride up, once they get their marker, once they're on their high Vanguard body, it starts to become a game to where they're either going to aggro you back or they're going to try slowing you down. And that's important. That's really important. Especially like going up against Bermuda Triangle, making those magic numbers early can take you very far into that matchup. And that's what Vivian allows you to do. On top of that, she allows you to call board, which can enable your aggro to go even higher, which is amazing. And in the Kagero matchup, she allows you to keep up momentum because Kagero, yes, it is a control clan, but having the access of being able to generate board constantly, even with Vivian and Sagramore and Brennius and everything that you have that can generate board, that's important. And you want to optimize that. So the Vivian helps you with that. So moving on, as I shift things around with this deck. Oh, I think, wait. Ha 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 ha. There we go. Next up, finally, for the grade 3 lineup, I play 4 copies of Incandescent Lion, Blonde Ezel. 3 proxy URRs, as I call them, 1 actual URR. I mean, I'm glad that these proxies are tournament legal, so, you know, that's nice. Anyways, jokes aside. So, Blonde Ezel, in my opinion, needs to be played at 4 in this deck, because your best Vanguard needs some insult. And you need to Superior Ride. That's about it. So having access to Superior Ride with his skill is really important because you can accelerate and start doing your thing, which is really important. You want to be able to do your thing immediately. So having him there as a 4 of is nice. On top of that, you'd rather not ride into Ravenhair first over Blonde, because if you do, you got a dead Vanguard. Like literally, you have a dead Vanguard. That's just vanilla. I don't want to play Vanilla Vanguard. That sounds like a very bad idea for me, so we're not going to play Vanilla Vanguard. Instead, I'll actually have a Vanguard that can at least do something. And that's another important thing. But you really just want to see this the most for the Superior Ride, and the fact that it's what Raven needs in Soul for his effect to constantly pressure as a waterfall. And that's important. Finally, though, on a side note, Blonde Ezel can be used as a finisher, because sometimes your opponent will, and you will know this too, your opponent will be able to guard the Raven-haired and guard all of your other attacks effortlessly. So how are you going to kill them? Well, doesn't matter if they have a PG. A PG is still 2 cards from hand, right? Question is, how will they be able to guard all the multi-attacks? Especially since you already have at least 2 Excel circles on the board. You could possibly have 3 if you Superior more, or if you just kept accelerating, right? Having 3 to 4 Excel circles with him, being able to multi-attack a lot is quite huge. And you can go over 13 attacks with just 1 Howl and Blonde Ezel on the board, which is really a great way to kill your opponent. So, yeah. Then, oh, three Raven-haired Ezels. Ooh, baby. Why do I play 3, you might be wondering? Don't you want to increase the consistency in Standard? Because it's Standard? Why, yes, but I don't want to ride a dead Vanguard. I used to play him at 4, and I used to play Blonde Ezel at 3. But the issue was I kept seeing Raven more than Blonde. Having seen Blonde more than Raven is a bit more important, because the deck can dig for Raven, which then makes it so that Raven isn't dead. And I can still use Raven, because you have access to Sagramore, you got access to Drain, draw triggers, your starter. They all dig. Hell, even cards that can synergize with cards like Dindrain or Sagramore. Like, example, Wonder Ezel can synergize with Dindrain to allow you to dig cards because it can call it. Same thing with Vivian. Or During the battle phase, what you can do is you can activate Howl, because Howl can also dig because he draws you a card and then calls a card. So you can call a Sagamore or a Dindrain to dig even more. Even your draw triggers let you dig, as I've said before. Even your starter does, because you get to draw a card when you ride it. You have enough ways to dig for the card that you don't need to play him at 4. And this also enables you to have more room for Sagamore, which I play him at 3. The reason I play Sagamore at 3 is quite simple. You need to generate board constantly and be able to punch your opponent in the face a lot, and you need to be able to use the drain a lot, so then that way your best Vanguard, the reusable Waterfall, is always live. And that's about it, really. So this is the deck. The deck performs really well, especially if you have a Corrin marker, because she plays Gold Paladin, unfortunately. I mean, what? A Kyo marker, because, you know, Kyo is pretty cool. You need a Kamui marker, because Kamui is also pretty cool, you know, like $15 for Kamui. Like, he was born there. You need just a cool XL marker, okay? You need a blonde ezel marker, and then you need the ultimate Kamui. This is the best marker in the game. You need the ultimate Kamui. This will win you the game. Jokes aside, though. Like, literally, this is just jokes. Lamau. This is how I play the deck. It's been working quite well. I might change it because I'm thinking about either changing Brennius into Haugen, because Haugen lets you dig for defensive triggers. But after testing that early, I felt that having the Brennius for the dig for Dindrain was a bit more important, because then I can pop off immediately. Then again, though, meta shifting, because Link Joker is going to come back with Messiah. And that's a Force Clan that can have multi-attacks, and that's, like, really big. So, like, Haugen might just come in handy. So, yeah. Other than that, though, like, the deck works really well. I've seen quite a great performance with it. Even in 2-deck, when my locals does 2-deck format, the deck performs really well, especially if it's the first deck to play, because you just kill your opponent instantly. It's high roll, right? And having the high roll is just the best thing in the world. I love playing glass cannons, dude. I love it. Yeah, that's what this is. And if you learn how to play the glass cannon well, the glass cannon will perform very well for you, and you will see results, like a lot of results, if you can learn how to pilot this deck really well. And because with my experience from the deck, I have learned that over the course of time, learning the clan more in depth and learning how to properly play a glass cannon, which some can say is very simple, but I think there's a bit more technique in the glass cannon that can make it so that, like, you can pilot it properly to where sometimes you don't need a glass cannon, sometimes you can play the long game. Because I found that this deck, for some godforsaken reason, because of this card, it can go to the long game with certain decks it can play the long game with. It's really annoying. Like, it's annoying and then at the same time confusing. Because I've been able to play the long game very few times with this deck. But that all comes down to player skill and also resource management. So yeah, but that's the deck. Just know, for people who don't like Ezel and are trying to study Ezel, a great way to beat it is just attacking its rear guards and giving it like one counterblast at most every turn, because they're just going to be locked onto Raven. That's it. That's like the biggest weakness, which is why I want to make this into Athelis. But it's fine. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below anything you like or dislike about this build, agree or disagree. Feel free to ask me questions. I will happily answer them. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, especially since you guys got me to 1K views. I wasn't expecting that to happen, and I'm very grateful that it happened. So thank you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video, as I've said before. And without further ado, and let the rambling stop, take care, guys, and have a great day.